All right, we are back with another D&D Movie Time. And we are at the end of August. And today we are going to be wrapping up as Cora's just finished her first day of school, which this will be out the day after. But anyways, we are finishing up the RoboCop franchise, the main franchise, with RoboCop 3. So do you remember what happened in the first two movies?
Second one, the second one, RoboCop was good because he was reprogrammed to help the younger version of the captain.
Huh? You're talking about Why do you keep getting Terminator and RoboCop mixed up? Oh my God, child. RoboCop, the police officer got killed in the line of duty. They turned him into a machine. He was controlled by the company. He ended up bringing the bad guys down. The guy in the company and the actual bad guys. Then in the sequel, there was a drug sweeping through old Detroit, and RoboCop was becoming obsolete because they wanted more control over RoboCop. So they tried to create a RoboCop 2, but they used a criminal to make this RoboCop, and it turned on them. And then the company was in major trouble when RoboCop 2 basically went on a killing spree, and RoboCop had to jump in and save the day. And now he has no directive, so he's like a living person. He makes his own choices because he got to fry himself to get rid of a ton of rules and laws that they shoved into his head. And when he electrocuted himself, he wiped his database clean of all that stuff. So now he's just like any living person. He can make his own choices whether he follows the law or not. But we know RoboCop's the good guy, so we know he will. So,
Unless somebody reprograms him to not.
Well, I guess we'll have to watch. I will tell you this in advance. This is not one of the most popular ones in the franchise. There is a TV series of RoboCop, but we probably will never watch that. So.
Why? Is it bad?
It didn't do very well, from what I remember hearing. But alright, we're going to go ahead and jump into RoboCop 3.
Bye.
How much would you pay to see RoboCop 3, Cora?
I'll pay $1 for that.
I mean,
whatever the line is.
I'll buy that for $1.
I'll pay this for $1.
Think we'll see that guy again?
Hopefully.
Alright.
And if they do, I'll laugh my butt off.
Alright. Talk to you after the movie.
Bye.
He was state-of-the-art in law enforcement technology.
Called for backup.
But the system thinks he's become too independent.
He disobeyed a direct order. I want to know why.
His friend was in trouble and he made a judgment call.
Too unpredictable.
They're saying he's gone underground. Oh, there goes our PR budget.
Too human.
We have a warrant out for the arrest of RoboCop.
Now the system's out to get him. Because he's fighting for the people.
If you want to get in there, you're going to have to shoot through us.
I don't have a huge problem with that.
Get them for me. I promise. All right, Mr. RoboCop.
Come and get me.
I must not endear your vehicle for police use.
What issue? Problem, sucker!
I mean, officer?
I hope you are insured.
thought your damn ninja was supposed to take care of RoboCop for me.
You are under arrest for assaulting an officer and destruction of police property. You may want to call the fire department.
What, you gone war wacky?
I think I'm in love.
He's taking the future. What? And giving it back to the people. RoboCop 3.
How may I help you, officer?
By resisting arrest.
Alright, so we just finished.
RoboCop 3!
And what was this RoboCop about? You just sat through the movie. You should be able... So, I guess I'll do it. I'll get started at least. Sit proper.
Okay.
So, OCP is moving forward with their plans to do something to the city. They make a reference to Delta City from the previous movie, but they don't say that's actually what they're planning to do. But mainly they're evicting people from their homes and dragging them to rehabilitation centers. And basically the police are kind of stuck in the middle. They're not helping, but they're not stopping it either. And because that's all due to the fact that OCP owns them. But we have a new player because a Japanese corporation bought OCP because of the events of RoboCop 2. And RoboCop stops chasing these like rebels that are working against the rehabilitation officers in order to save their homes. So RoboCop and his partner Lewis, they show up to try to find these rebels, and the rehabilitation officers show up at the same time. And what happens then, Cora? Does somebody die?
Yes.
Who?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sad face.
She'll be missed.
Well, I'm wondering if they're going to make a RoboCop 4 that,
No. They rebooted the franchise after this. But we'll get into those details later. Anyways, so RoboCop gets damaged in the attack that kills Lewis. And now it's up to the rebels to basically patch RoboCop back up, putting him back together, and getting him on his feet. Meanwhile, OCP is slandering RoboCop's name, making it seem like he turned bad. And basically, RoboCop, once he's up on his feet, he goes after the rehabilitation guys for revenge for Lewis. And then he disappears for a while, and the rehabilitation officers, after RoboCop's attempt to bring him down, sit up and proper. He finally shows back up, and it's all-out war between the people of Detroit and the rehabilitation group, which hired thugs and criminals to step in and be like a mercenary force. So, and basically RoboCop has to battle OCP again. Take on this rehabilitation leader, and he also fights what, Cora?
A Japanese human robot.
A robot ninja?
A robot human ninja.
Yeah. So that was RoboCop 3, and I'm pretty sure I hit all the major story points. When we get back from our break, we will go ahead and give our final scores.
For thousands of years, the world has been protected by the Guardian of Light, or as he is more commonly known, Santa Claus. Over the centuries, factors such as fear and prejudice, greed and jealousy, misunderstandings, betrayal and war have segregated most humans from the magical world of elves, fairies, wizards, and the like. This has resulted in many misconceptions and generalizations of the true nature of Santa and his world.
This 6-book series by Sean Connaughton begins as the current of a long series of Guardians is murdered by a group of monstrous enemies recently escaped from an enchanted South Pole prison. These creatures are loyal to the darkness, an evil force determined to exterminate the light in order to enslave all creatures of the world.
Shane Connor, an average young man, suddenly finds himself being trained as the new Guardian. As he adapts to his new life among fantastic creatures, he goes on an adventurous quest with a legendary wizard for the ultimate weapon to use against the darkness, and faces murderous enemies like Rasputin, Morgana Le Fay, Krampus, and many more.
Along with his best friend Joe Gomez, Shane encounters politics, history, mysterious murders, new loves, his own hidden past, and racial dynamics among the fantasy races that turn out to be all too real. Their adventures reveal the true nature of the world and challenge the current state of how all races interact.
This series expertly melds myths, legends, history, faiths, folklore, and secret societies into a fascinating, cohesive, comprehensive world of wonder and magic.
From Atlantis to Olympus, from Hades to the moon, and from broomstick races to Christmas deadlines, join the new Santa Claus on his amazing journey. But beware! Will Shane's quest achieve his ultimate goal of destroying the darkness and preserving the light of the world? Or is he actually playing right into a plot by dark forces that will result in his, and our, ultimate doom?
So make your list and check it twice for the Guardian of Light book series. Download your audiobook or ebook today from Audible, Amazon, or iTunes.
Alright, Cora. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give RoboCop 3?
I would say a 6 out of 10.
Why
Because near the end when a Robobot loses the jetpack, it was pretty clear that they just lose his CGI.
So?
And they could have gone better.
Well, it's early 90s.
I know, but they could have gone better with the Japanese ninja robot, because they didn't have to when somebody broke its jaw, like this.
That was probably a practical effect, but go ahead.
They didn't have to have him do this.
Well, it made it look like he was repairing himself.
Yeah, but it was so creepy.
That's the idea. It's supposed to be creepy. You weirdo. Alright, 6 out of 10. Anything else you want to say about this movie? Sit, put your legs down.
Why?
That's it, so. Anything else you want to say about this movie?
Nope.
Alright. Put your arm down. That arm.
Why?
So, alright, moving on to my score. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give RoboCop 3 probably an 8 out of 10. I do still enjoy this. It does faithfully continue on the story. There are some things I didn't like the recasting of RoboCop. I feel like, because the whole thing with that is that Peter Weller, there was a scheduling conflict, so they couldn't get him back for this. I feel like they should have just waited a little while to put this out then, until they could have gotten him back. Killing off Lewis was bold, but I guess since it was the last one of this, trilogy, that's to be expected. I did like the introduction of the kid. That was very interesting. I like the ninja assassin robots. It was nice that this one actually had the "I'll buy that for $1" comeback, even though it was only one time. I also did like the fact that they continued to use the Ed 209, which is almost as iconic as RoboCop himself. The actor who played RoboCop didn't do a horrible job. It did kind of look a little bit like him, like Peter Weller, but there was enough differences to know that wasn't him. But it's still pretty good. It's not great, and there was definitely some moments with the story, and that's probably the biggest thing that brings it down, is there's moments with the story where I feel like the writing needed to be touched up and worked on. Like, RoboCop goes after the leader of the rehabilitation group, and the leader of the rehabilitation group stops RoboCop by throwing money into the street. And then the very next scene, they're going and infiltrating the Resistance Underground headquarters to arrest and kill them. And it's like, okay, so what's RoboCop doing all this? In fact, RoboCop doesn't show up for scenes later. And it's like, what has he been doing this whole time? Did it take those kids that long to get the money out of the street? But yeah, he just sort of disappears with no reason. Also, they had this thing where he kept running low on power, and they fixed him up. They repaired him halfway through the movie, so it's like, why is he still having power issues? He should be fully charged and ready to go. But it's basically just a ploy they use to introduce this jetpack thing. By the way, RoboCop flies now. But yeah, I mean, there are little bit story problems that I feel like just waiting a little bit longer, they could have worked out the kinks of this stuff and really had something. So, alright, I guess that's going to wrap up our review for RoboCop 3. I do know that there is a remake, which we will probably explore at some point. I'm down on the remake, but we'll see. There were a lot of big actors, or a lot of actors in this, that ended up becoming very big actors afterwards. We even got to see, quite interesting enough, one of the characters from Pirates of the Caribbean make a guest appearance in this movie. Way before he did Pirates of the Caribbean. Or as Cora likes to call him now, Grumpy. Because he was in Once Upon a Time as Grumpy the dwarf. So, yeah, I almost didn't recognize him at first because he was so much younger. But, alright, that's going to wrap up this review for RoboCop 3. Definitely, if you haven't checked it out and you watched all the way to this part of the video, this is a franchise I definitely suggest checking out. I would always prefer this over the over the remake if I had a choice. I kind of wish they had done something more on this line because it almost is like they are predicting the future. Like a lot of stuff that happened in this movie feels like stuff that's going on right now in our current environment. So, alright. We'll talk to you all later.